Welcome to the Gospel with the Church Fathers. Today is the Thursday of the 32nd week in Ordinary Time. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share on your social media. Also, check out our other work at catholicinitiative.com or on Twitter at Church Rebuild. Thank you. Today's Gospel comes from St. Luke, chapter 17, verses 26 through 37, and the commentaries are from St. Cyril, St. John Chrysostom, St. Theophylactus, St. Ambrose, St. Augustine, and St. Bede. The Gospel. Jesus said to his disciples, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Similarly, as it was in the days of Lot, they were eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting, building. On the day when Lot left Sodom, fire and brimstone rained from the sky to destroy them all. So it will be on the day the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, someone who is on the housetop and whose belongings are in the house must not go down to get them, and likewise one in the field must not return to what was left behind. Remember the wife of Lot. Whoever seeks to preserve his life will lose it, but whoever loses it will save it. I tell you, on that night there will be two people in one bed. One will be taken, the other left. And there will be two women grinding meal together. One will be taken, the other left." They said to him in reply, "Where, Lord?" He said to them, "Where the body is, there also the vultures will gather." The commentaries. St. Bede. The coming of our Lord, which he had compared to lightning flying swiftly across the heavens, he likens now to the days of Noah and Lot, when a sudden destruction came upon mankind. St. John Chrysostom. For refusing to believe the words of warning, they were suddenly visited with a real punishment from God. But their unbelief proceeded from self-indulgence and softness of mind. For such as man's wishes and inclinations are, will also be his expectations. Therefore it follows, they eat and drank. St. Bede. Now Noah builds the ark mystically. The Lord builds his church of Christ's faithful servants by uniting them together in one, as smooth pieces of wood, and when it is perfectly finished, he enters it, as at the day of judgment. He who ever dwells within his church enlightens it with his visible presence. But while the ark is in building, the wicked flourish. When it is entered, they perish. As they who revile the saints in their warfare here shall, when they are crowned hereafter, be smitten with eternal condemnation. St. Theophylactus. For when the Antichrist has come, then shall men become wanton, given up to abominable vices, as the Apostle says, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. For if Antichrist is the dwelling place of every sin, what else will he then implant in the miserable race of men but what belongs to himself? And this our Lord implies by the instances of the deluge and the people of Sodom. St. Augustine. For he is on the housetop who, departing from carnal things, breathes as it were the free air of a spiritual life. But the vessels in the house are the carnal senses, which many, using to discover truth which is only taken in by the intellect, have entirely missed it. Let the spiritual man then beware, lest in the day of tribulation he again take pleasure in the carnal life which is fed by the bodily senses, and descend to take away this world's vessels. It follows, and he that is in the field, let him not return back. That is, he who labors in the church, as Paul planting and Apollos watering, let him not look back upon the worldly prospects which he has renounced. St. Theophylactus. Matthew relates all these things to have been said by our Lord with reference to the destruction of Jerusalem, that when the Romans came upon them, they who were on the housetop should not come down to take anything, but fly at once, nor they that were in the field return home. And surely so it was at the taking of Jerusalem, and again will be at the coming of the Antichrist, but much more at the completion of all things, when that intolerable destruction shall come. St. Ambrose. Because thus Lot's wife looked behind, she lost the gift of her nature. For Satan is behind also Sodom. Wherefore flee from intemperance, turn away from lust, from recollect that he who turned not back to his old pursuits escaped, because he reached the mount, whereas she, looking back to what was left behind, could not even by the aid of her husband reach the mount, but remained fixed. St. Cyril. How a man may lose his own life to save it, St. Paul explains when he speaks of some who crucified their flesh with the affections and lusts, that is, with perseverance and devotion engaging in the conflict. For by the two men in one bed he seems to denote the rich who repose themselves in worldly pleasures, for a bed is a sign of rest. But not all who abound in riches are wicked, but if one is good and elect in the faith, he will be taken, but another who is not so will be left. For when our Lord descends to judgment, he will send his angels, who, while they leave behind on the earth the rest to suffer punishment, will bring the holy and righteous men to him.